Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Christy Gittens, Treasurer of the Marcellus Shale Coalition.
Welcome back. I'm Christy Gittens, Vice President of Public Affairs for Chief Oil and Gas and Treasurer of the Marcellus Shale Coalition. I have the honor this afternoon of introducing the Honorable Jim Cawley, Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Lieutenant Governor Cawley recently completed one of his first major responsibilities under Governor Corbett's administration, leading the Governor's Marcellus Shale Advisory Commission. After 20 public meetings, over 4 months, 60 expert presentations, 100 public presentations from citizens of Pennsylvania, and visits to well sites and local businesses in Marcellus counties, the Commission, in July, unanimously approved a report the panel intends to be a strategic plan for the responsible development of natural gas in the Commonwealth. Totaling 137 pages, the report outlines some 96 policy recommendations, more than half of which address environmental, health, and safety policies. The policy recommendations will guide the Governor's decision-making in the months and years to come. With input from the General Assembly, these recommendations seek to bolster what are already considered some of the nation's most forward-leaning oil and natural gas regulations through further strengthening protections of the Commonwealth's water resources, enhancing Pennsylvania's clean energy policies, creating jobs for Pennsylvanians and training a sophisticated natural gas workforce, promoting public health and safety, and safeguarding other natural resources, improving Pennsylvania's infrastructure, and finally, helping the Marcellus communities maximize the impacts and opportunities of natural gas development. We thank the Lieutenant Governor for his leadership of this panel and the balanced report they produced nearly 2 months ago. Lieutenant Governor Cawley was inaugurated as Pennsylvania's 32nd Lieutenant Governor in January. Prior to his service in Harrisburg, the Lieutenant Governor held a seat on the Bucks County Board of Commissioners, where he focused on lower taxes. He's been active in charitable, environmental, educational, and civic affairs in Bucks County and here in Philadelphia. We're very pleased that he is joining us this afternoon. It's my privilege to introduce Lieutenant Governor Jim Cawley.
Well, I will tell you, with that generous introduction, there's nothing more to be said, so enjoy the conference. It's my understanding I had the opportunity to talk this morning with Governor Tom Ridge, and I hear that immediately following our conversation that you will be hearing from Governor Rendell, and I know that tomorrow afternoon you're going to be hearing from Governor Corbett, and this conference is being described as the Conference of Governors. So on behalf of the lowly office of Lieutenant Governor, thank you for fitting me in. And I want to share with you just some thoughts about where we are as a Commonwealth and how your industry is very much becoming a part of our exciting new future. Because there is something happening across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. There's a new vitality, a reawakening, even in the throes of one of the greatest economic slumps since the Great Depression. Pennsylvanians are finding good-paying jobs. Vacant storefronts are now open again with vibrant new businesses. And stagnant downtowns are becoming a thing of the past. Natural gas is changing the lives of Pennsylvanians, and not just at drilling sites. It's reached deep into our communities, where the hardworking men and women of Pennsylvania get to live a little bit of a better life now. Governor Corbett and I saw this miraculous growth as candidates last year, and we continue to see it every day in our travels around the state. I saw this new vitality in Montoursville, where the advisory commission that I had the honor to chair toured Albert's company, a family-owned business that makes foam padding for amusement park rides. They adapted their product to produce a durable plastic liner that helps contain spills at drilling sites. Albert's is prospering and creating new job opportunities due in large part to Marcellus Shale and due in large part to doing business with many of you. I also saw that vitality in Cranberry Township in Butler County. Talisman Energy chose this Pittsburgh suburb as its corporate headquarters, and they're now employing 200 more people. Things are going well. In fact, Talisman is expanding, renting more space, creating more jobs. That's what happens when you move your corporate headquarters to Pennsylvania, by the way. You want to grow? Come here. I saw this new vitality in the heart of the Poconos as well, miles from any well site. I had the opportunity to tour the Weiler Corporation last month. Just 2 years ago, this family-owned business that manufactures industrial brushes was facing some very hard time. Work was increasingly scarce, and for the first time in that company's history, they were faced with the unenviable task of laying some of their employees off. Then came Marcellus, and the Weilers saw an opportunity. They sent out engineers. They didn't wait for the industry to come to them. They took the proactive step to go out and observe drilling operations. They took the information that was collected and adapted their brushes for use on Pennsylvania gas pipelines. Many of you began to order brushes from the Weiler Company, and it began to prosper, so that today they have hired back most of the people that they've laid off 2 years ago and are expecting to employ even more. Now, this isn't the end of the story for the Weiler Company, because you see, they needed more wire to fill the new orders. So they called on their suppliers, including a company called Mount Joy Wire in Lancaster County, also not in the shale region. As a result, Mount Joy Wires is rehiring employees it also had laid off previously. The Weilers also called on a paper company in Birdsboro, Berks County, also not in the shale play, because they needed more boxes to ship their brushes. And it goes on and on and on. The ripple effect of this industry is being felt all across Pennsylvania. There can be no question that there is great economic benefit to this precious natural resource. This new vitality is beginning to be felt across the state, across the nation, and across the world, creating jobs at drilling sites and miles away. Most of us in this room, this point seems pretty obvious. But the average Pennsylvanian doesn't quite see it that way right now. See, consider the fact for a moment, if you looked at a map of the state of Pennsylvania, fully 2/3 of that map has the Marcellus under it. But the remaining 1/3, primarily in southeast and south central Pennsylvania, contains 60% of the state's population. They don't see the direct economic benefit of your companies. They don't see Main Street being revitalized. They don't see their uncle, their neighbor, their friend down the street who's been unemployed for 2 and 3 years getting a good family-sustaining wage. And the truth of the matter is that that 1/3, with its 60% of the state's population, sends to the state Senate 26 of our 50 state senators and sends 110 of our state House members and more than half of our 19 congressmen and women. Without question, that remaining one-third is very influential when it comes to public policy making. That's why it's so critically important for all of us, not just to gather here. And by the way, I want to thank you and compliment all of you on your choice of location for this event. But our challenge is to carry the message that we talk about today going forward. Let every region of this state know, loud and clear, that Marcellus Shale is beneficial to the future of Pennsylvania. And you can all play an important part in communicating this message. One way is for you to reach out to chambers of commerce throughout the state and work with them to educate local companies about the business opportunities. Not all of them are Weiler. Not all of them are going to go to the opportunity. Some of them need to be told that there is opportunity. Share with those chambers what your needs are, what services you're looking for, what products do you need. While chairing the Governor's Advisory Commission, we heard repeatedly from businessmen and women across the state expressing a desire to learn how to get more involved in Marcellus. In fact, one of our key recommendations to the governor is to develop a strategy to help manufacturers adapt their products, meet industry standards, market their services, and identify qualified suppliers. You see, the goal is for us to see more Alberts, more Weilers, more Mountjoy wires, more Pennsylvania manufacturers participating in this exciting industry. Many of you are already doing this, and we thank you. And if you feel as if I'm preaching to the choir, let me tell you why. You preach to the choir so that they can sing the loudest. In fact, the efforts are ongoing, and I know that just a couple of weeks ago, the coalition participated in educational events in Johnstown and in Scranton. Hundreds of small business owners took part in seminars about the Marcellus supply chain opportunities. In June, the Advisory Commission made a field trip to the Williamsport area, where we observed how the Lycoming Chamber is working to bring industry together with local businesses. The industry benefits. Local businesses benefit. And the residents benefit from creating family-sustaining jobs. And this brings me to my next point, creating jobs for Pennsylvanians. A recent report indicated that your industry is employing 7 out of 10 of all the employees that are in this industry in this state. 7 out of 10. Well, you know, that's good, but it can be better. Governor Corbett and I look forward to a day in which it's 10 out of 10. Natural gas is a Pennsylvania resource of great potential for growth and energy independence. Yet it's not Pennsylvania's greatest resource. Our greatest resource is our people. Pennsylvania's workforce is second to none, and many Pennsylvanians want to work for your industry. Last month, I took part in a panel discussion on job training needs for the Marcellus. One of the panelists was a former Marine who was recently back from serving our country in the War on Terror. With his military service over, he needed a new career. This veteran lives in Manioc, a suburb of Philadelphia. But with the right support and training, he found a job working on a drill rig in Bradford County for 2 weeks out of every month. The Advisory Commission put forward several other recommendations to the governor dealing with this critical issue of job training. We recommended to the governor that government should act as a partner with the gas industry and with academic institutions like trade and technical schools to identify future employment and develop curriculum and training needed for Pennsylvanians to work in this industry. I'm telling you what you already know. You already know that there is a need for certified truck drivers. And let me back up just for a moment. I mentioned earlier that 7 out of 10, but yet we keep hearing all the time that all I see at these drill rigs are Texas plates and Oklahoma plates. If you haven't already, and you have a vehicle here in this state, we have a wonderful Department of Motor Vehicles. Please re-register your vehicle in our state to let everybody know that a Pennsylvanian is driving that truck. We know that there are specified needs like certified truck drivers. The Commission recommended enhancing certain efforts to train, certify, and employ individuals who are seeking commercial driver's licenses. I know that the coalition offers educational seminars like Marcellus Transportation Safety Day, which can help in developing a standardized curriculum for driving. We also recommend that special efforts be made to meet the standards and the needs of our armed forces, particularly those personnel that are returning from service, like that young Marine from Manioc that I mentioned. We can do this by working with groups like Hiring Our Heroes, Troops to Roughnecks, to develop programs for our veterans. We are here in this room, and we're enjoying the blessings of liberty because the men and women of our armed services put their lives on the line for our freedom. It seems to me, and I know it seems to Governor Corbett, that if they want to find a job working in natural gas in Pennsylvania, then we need to do everything we can within our power to make it happen for them. They represent a part of this vibrant future that I talked about. And really, what we were tasked with, Governor Corbett and I, was trying to determine where we are as a Commonwealth in relation to your industry, where we would like to go, and most importantly, how we get there. And that's what the governor took into consideration when he formed our advisory commission. And I will tell you that he was breaking new ground when he appointed that commission. You see, for the first time, representatives from the natural gas industry sat down at the same table with representatives from environmental groups and state and local government leaders to talk about policy in a transparent and public, sometimes painfully public, process. The result was, as you heard, 96 unanimously adopted recommendations to develop a comprehensive plan for responsible development of natural gas in Pennsylvania. I mean, it really was an unprecedented undertaking in the history of our state. 21 different meetings, all open to the public. More than 60 presentations, hundreds of letters, emails, texts, public comment from citizens all across the state. Recently, the governors of Maryland and New York have decided to follow suit and set up their own advisory commissions. While the Marcellus does not extend down to Harrisburg, one resource we have in our capital city in abundance is hot air. Even before the Advisory Commission released its report, the talking heads began their spin. Well, I encourage you to look beyond what it is that you're being told in a blog or on the page of a newspaper. I encourage each of you to read the report for yourselves. For those suffering from insomnia, it should be very helpful. You can download a copy for yourself and read related information by following a link on my website. It's ltgovernor@state.pa.us. Governor Corbett and I remain committed to working to make sure that we maximize this great opportunity. We want to create more jobs for Pennsylvanians. We want to promote energy independence and secure Pennsylvania's economic future for generations to come. But we also want to do it right. You see, for he and I, no amount of economic benefit would ever justify the degradation of our land, our air, and our water. So the Advisory Commission made public health, public safety, and environmental protection top priorities. In fact, more than half of the 96 recommendations deal with these critical areas. We proposed tough new regulations on drilling, like increasing the distance between well sites and water supplies, increasing bond requirements for drilling operations, and doubling fines for those who aren't playing by the rules and who violate regulation. You see, we've heard it over and over again from the good actors in your business. If you're going to be successful at doing business in this state, you must understand and appreciate the history of our state. We've gone through the boom-bust cycles in the past, and unfortunately, they've left a legacy of coal pits filled with acid mine drainage, old-growth forests deleted, decaying structures that were once thriving steel mills. We must learn from this past and do things differently this time. Governor Corbett wants a comprehensive plan for responsible development of natural gas. And I believe that in those 96 recommendations that we sent to him, that we offer a solid first step in that direction. But it is indeed just that, a first step. This is going to be an ongoing process. The governor will soon put forward a plan based on those recommendations. Legislation and regulatory changes will be needed to implement that plan. There will be hearings. There will be more public debate. So the conversation on natural gas in Pennsylvania is far from over. It's an important debate. It's one where every voice needs to be heard, including yours. As I said, the governor and I view this as a great opportunity, and we want to work with each of you to make it happen. Working together, we believe that we can reassure those who perhaps haven't felt this way in a while. We can reassure them that Pennsylvania's best days lie ahead. All we need to do now is have the courage to make the right choices in order to get us there. We will put Pennsylvanians back to work working with all of you, and we will once again make Pennsylvania an even better place to live and to work and to raise our families and to grow old in. I look forward to continuing to work with all of you in this room to promote that vital agenda, and I wish you all a very happy and prosperous conference. Thank you very much.